We never knew that sculptures could get this expensive. But before we start, I want you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Fabulous Luxury. Here are 10 most expensive sculptures ever sold. Number 10, Reclining Figure Festival by Henry Moore, $31.1 million. This abstract statue was created in 1951 by Henry Moore as a commission from the Arts Council for the Festival of Berlin. It features a highly abstracted form of a reclining female figure resting on her two arms. Moore first began with a sketch, followed by plaster maquettes and a small bronze model, which was later enlarged to a full-size cast. Of the sculpture, Moore famously said, "The festival reclining figure is perhaps my first sculpture where the space and form are completely dependent on and inseparable from each other. I had reached the stage where I wanted my sculpture to be fully three-dimensional."
Before we begin to describe the individual elements of the sculpture, I think it's also important to make a few observations about the material.
Number 9, Tulips by Jeff Koons, $34.8 million. American artist Jeff Koons is famous for his works that infuse elements of pop culture with everyday objects. His stainless steel balloon animal sculptures have been particularly noted. His gigantic steel sculpture Tulips was sold for an enormous price at Christie's to hotel mogul Steve Wynn, who is very passionate about collecting famous pieces of art. The sculpture features a bouquet of tulips in different colors with transparent color coating and mirror-polished stainless steel. It was one of the 5 unique versions created.
Flowers are similar.
Number 8, Madame L.R. Portrait de Madame L.R. by Constantine Brancusi, $41.5 million. Created in 1918, this piece has been characterized as an abstract sculpture of the female form, although the sculptor himself disagrees with this sentiment. He once said, "There are idiots who define my work as abstract, yet what they call abstract is what is most realistic." Nevertheless, Brancusi remains famous as one of the most modernist sculptors from France, with a particular talent for woodworks. The piece was sold from the private collection of Yves Saint Laurent and Pierre Berger for over $30 million on 24th of February 2009.
In New York City.
Number 7, Grand Tete Mince by Alberto Giacometti, $50.9 million. Giacometti's sculptures are worth a fortune now. Widely regarded as one of the most prominent sculptors of the 20th century, this Swiss artist was heavily influenced by the art and the philosophical movements of his time, such as Surrealism, Cubism, and Existentialism. His work is particularly celebrated for the motif of the solitary and suffering human figure. However, this piece, whose title roughly translates to large thin head, is a male bust that he created in 1955. The sculpture is noted for its unusual proportions, and when viewed from different angles, it appears as 2 distinct heads.
Now, if you look at the profile, this is not Diego. This is Alberto. This.
Number 6, Nu de dos for État, Black 4 by Henri Matisse, $53 million. Henri Matisse is more famous as a painter, especially for the way he used vivid colors and conveyed a sense of fluidity and movement in his works. Along with Pablo Picasso, his impact on modern art was quite significant. However, he was a sculptor and one of his pieces was sold for $53 million. He made a series of sculptures modeled on the human back, which also happened to be the largest pieces he's ever made. Cast in bronze, this piece features a seemingly androgynous back with an abstracted plate.
$88 million. Against you, Nick, at $88 million now.
Number 5, Gueno Lioness, $65.4 million. This one is the oldest on this list, and by a fairly huge margin. Although we don't know who the original artist was, we're fairly certain that's around 5,000 years old. This limestone statue was reportedly discovered in Iraq and merges both animal and human figures. With feminine curves on the lower body, the absence of male sex organs, and the head of a lioness, the sculpture has been the subject of numerous debates and is speculated to be an ancient Mesopotamian deity, who often took on the form of anthropomorphic figures. What's most interesting is the fact that this sculpture was created around the same time as the invention of the wheel and the beginnings of cuneiform writing, adding to its immense historical value. Number 4, Balloon Dog Orange by Jeff Koons, $59.4 million. The second Jeff Koons sculpture on this list, Balloon Dog was a part of his Celebration series. 5 unique pieces in different colors were produced, with the orange version being sold at record price. The piece exudes an aura of childishness, playfulness, and optimism. However, Koons has a slightly darker take on it, saying, "I've always enjoyed balloon animals because they're like us. We're balloons. You take a breath and you inhale, it's an optimism. You exhale and it's a kind of symbol of death."
Spectral.
and also to communicate to people that every color is perfect.
Number 3, Tete by Amedeo Modigliani, $64.7 million. Created between 1910 and 1912, the legendary Italian Jewish sculptor and painter represents a woman in a trivial mask. The limestone head is over 2 feet tall. It's one of the 27 sculptures that Modigliani had ever made. The entire auction for this was comprised almost entirely of telephone bidders, with the final anonymous buyer paying over $60 million, which was the highest price for any work of art sold in France till date.
Created this sculpture is to use a rectangular block of limestone and to chisel and carve.
Number 2, L'Homme qui marche by Alberto Giacometti, $113.4 million. The title of this sculpture translates to The Walking Man and features Giacometti's signature motif. It depicts a lonely thin man in a mid-stride pose and exudes a sense of vulnerability, sadness, and loneliness, themes which recur repeatedly in the sculptor's work. It held the record for being the most expensive sculpture ever sold, until it was broken by the sale of another Giacometti sculpture.
Is described as both a humble image of an ordinary man and a potent symbol of humanity. Giacometti.
Number 1, L'Homme au Deuil by Alberto Giacometti, $141.3 million. This bronze sculpture was created in 1945 and holds the world record for the most expensive sculpture ever sold. Translated as The Pointing Man, this piece depicts a solitary wraith-like thin man standing upright and pointing. Created in a world that was recovering from the devastating effects of the Second World War, Valerie Fletcher wrote this piece. This stick figure suited the zeitgeist of the war's aftermath, perhaps a positive metaphor for civilization emerging from the years of physical and psychic horror. No wonder his evocative sculptures remain so relevant in these modern times. But this brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen, because I'm sure you'll love them. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.